Hi, this is Athena StarSeed, and this is Kyle Mercer. It's Life at Altitude, and he is an author, a transformational coach, a philosopher, and we're on part 2 of this clip, and you were talking about...
Because we just got a phone call.
We got a phone call. My sister called. I love you.
Hey, sis.
So we were cleaning up this mind, body...
Source.
Void.
So what we're talking about is that whenever I have identity pains, issues, beliefs, or emotional pain, or what I call voids, is we're not full adults. Meaning that as long as I'm coming from one of these places, and it can be situational, as long as I'm coming from one of these places. So if I'm interacting with you from a place of need in one of these things, meaning I've got emotional pain, I'm hurt and I want you to make me feel better.
Right.
Or my ego's small and I want you to prop me up. Or if I've got ambition that I'm trying to fulfill for myself, I'm not really relating to you. I'm just using you to try to get filled. It's not actual adult relationship. Almost all relationships are not adult whole relationships because most people, I never want to be in a relationship to get my needs met. That is
we have to do another whole show on just relationships because what I call that is spiritual maturity.
Okay, great. I call it adulthood. Yes. Nobody should raise. Oh, I better not say it. Anyway,
you shouldn't go into a relationship to get your needs met.
Yes, if
that's
you
a
do,
shocker.
It's much easier to meet my own needs than try to get you, and then I'm gonna have to give you something. So once I'm full, then I can do what I call the one for us. So if we're in a relationship, I say, well, what's possible for us to do together that we couldn't do alone? I'm full, you're full.
Right.
What could we do together? We could make a video. And I don't need anything out of it. You don't need anything out of it. We're just doing, can you tell how much fun we're having?
We're having a lot of fun.
We don't need anything. But we said, what if we created a video? And I know her spirit is to have fun and playful and joy. So we're having fun and playful and joy. So both of us have an idea on fun and playful and joy. Now we're playing well together to create more fun and play and joy that we could have alone.
Right.
That's the one for us. That's what adults do.
Right.
Right? If I have a business, why do we want to have a business? Well, we want to create this amazing product. Okay, now that I'm full and you're full, we're not going to mess around with that stuff. We're just going to put our energy and attention toward creating a better product. I had a couple here the other day. I do day-and-a-half processes with couples. I call them relationship renewals. But a relationship renewal,
I like that.
We get rid of all the gunk from the past and everybody, and even relationships can have pain and egos and all that stuff.
Well, they bring it in their backpack and they carry it around and then they project it onto the new relationship.
There's that, but even as you and I develop a relationship, the entity of the relationship can have, even if you heal it and I heal it, the entity of the relationship can still have the ego or the pain or the...
So the us of us?
The us of us actually is an entity.
Wow, I love that. The us
It
of
happens
us.
with countries have pain. Right. Countries have egos. We've got narcissistic countries. We've got all sorts of stuff. All the things can be applied to any collaborative businesses, relationships. But I was doing a relationship renewal the other day. I said, what's the one for us? And we talked about it for a while, and they said, more love. I said, that's amazing. And they said, we want more love for us, and then for our nuclear family, and then everyone around us. So what happens then is we're trying to make a decision, right? We're coming up, shall we buy a new house? You might say, I want a new house because I want a new kitchen or whatever. I said, I want a new house because I want a garage or whatever it is, right? And that has nothing to do with it. I would say, how would you see that a new house would create more love for us and all around us? And then we're like, well, the new house, we can make it so people would want to come over and our grandchildren would want to come over. And we could make it so that we had these beautiful meals and that we built these things and created a playground, whatever it is. So now, instead of having argument about what I want versus what you want, which is below the line, right?
Below the line.
Right? And we're having above the line conversations, like what would create more love. Even if we're in an argument, I say, well, I think a new kitchen would create more love because we'd have amazing food. I can't say, well, how dare you? I say, well,
I think a garage would have more love because I can work on my car.
That's right, and I can fix all the things that break or whatever, and that would create more love. It's not an argument. Well, I want more love for both of us in this way. And so, do you see how it's not this push and pull? It's like we're thinking about that thing out there and how we can create and manifest manifest that thing. So that's the one for us. It applies to businesses. It applies to relationships, friends, boards. So I do work with the inquiry method and life at altitude applied to everything.
Everything.
It's a panacea. It's the wonder drug. And so like it makes no difference. I can step into any situation and transform it. It's unbelievable.
Well, see, I like the way that you have this, like all these different colors of the rainbow, because you have your point of awareness. And your perspective and your focus is really where your attention goes, your energy flows.
That's right.
And so you're asking people to be able to be lubricating their point of awareness to get more relief around what their ultimate destination is, which is more freedom, right?
And look at this. So here's the problem. If I've got a bunch of unhealed emotional pain in my body, how much time do I want to hang out there?
Right.
How much time do I want to hang out
lot
in
of
my
people
I'm not going to
don't.
go there. I'm going to stay intellectual in my head. How many people do you know that are, we all have these explanations and defenses and all this kind of stuff so we don't have to feel. And then when we feel, it's all, But if we can get that cleaned out, then we get to feel like you. We get to feel all this joy.
Yes.
We can fill it with whatever
More
kind
joy,
of feeling.
more joy,
Yeah,
more
that's
joy.
right. And it's the same with all these. When I've got terrible ideas in my head, how much I want to listen to the radio so I don't have to hear all that bullshit. Right? So it's like,
Right.
so we're shutting all this down because it's all uncomfortable in here. When we clean it up, we can spend time in all these places together even.
Yes. And also too, just like to clean up the mental bandwidth, just to have peace of mind, because how many people, well, let's say with couples, they get into an argument, and for the next 8 hours, even when the partner is gone, their mind is in that argument all 8 hours of the day, and now they can't be present with what they really love to do, which is their purpose.
Right. Okay, here's the other really cool thing about this chart. I didn't know, I discovered this 5 years after I made it. What does this look like to you?
An eyeball.
Yes, it's eye, right?
Eye.
And it's an eyeball, it's the lens through which I see the world.
Don't you love your subconscious mind?
My subconscious mind is a genius. I'm
You're a
kind of
genius.
stupid, but my subconscious mind. And look at this. So input comes in through input from the outside world. It has to come in through your lens. It has to come through your mind.
Okay, so you're receiving data.
Yeah, it comes through your emotions. It comes through your voids and ambitions. And so as it comes in here, if there's stuff in here, it's getting all skewed and morphed. And when it comes in and gets to the observer, which is really you, the part of you that sees it,
Right.
it's twisted through all your thoughts about it, all your feelings about it, all this stuff.
Well, the lens is dirty.
That's right.
So you're seeing the stuff
It's
on the
getting
lens.
warped. And then, guess what? This is love. It's all love coming in.
All love.
And we can't see it. It gets twisted in it, just like through a prism that
Right.
gets into the spectrum, split into the spectrum.
Right,
Like
like
the white light,
white
comes into the
light
spectrum,
comes in and makes the
gets
colors.
fractured. So I'm only seeing red. I'm only see anger in it, or I only see fear in it.
Wow.
So the clearer the lens, the clearer the trans. And then it gets processed in here. And guess what this generates in here? What feeling does this generate in here?
Peace and white light.
Love, right?
Love.
It's all love in, all love out. This love, but oh no, the love has to go back out through all this muck, so it comes out as yelling at you. You mean witch. By which I mean I love you so much.
Or I wouldn't be talking to you. It's just energy.
The thing is, it is. Because I have this whole thing called what does the emotion want? So if you're angry at me
Right.
for not coming home for dinner, right? Again, I say, what does that anger want?
Love.
Well, it wants me to come home for dinner, right?
Right.
Why?
Because I love you.
You're right. It's all love. It's all love in, except it gets, our eye spins it around, and it's all love out. And the more we clean up those layers, the more we can see the love coming in, and the more that people experience the love coming out, because it's not being twisted and turned and modified by my eye.
By your eye. By the I, ego, and the I, the
Which
I.
aren't I.
Right.
This I is just the vehicle you're riding in. It is not you.
It's not
you.
you.
Is the witnessing consciousness at the center. Oh, okay. One more mind-blowing thing. It's actually donut because this observer self in here and this external to self, all of the universe, is exactly the same thing. So you can go all the way in and find it, or you can go all the way out and find
This
it.
reminds me of Mork and Mindy. Remember when Mork, he shrank all the way down to an atom?
I
and
don't
he was
remember
just sitting right in the center
but
of the
we're
universe.
having that much
Everything
fun.
was outside and everything that's
That's
inside
right.
is the same.
That's
okay, or Horton hears a who.
And none of this is you. It's just a vehicle. So you don't even have to take it personally. Just do the work. It's not you.
It's
just
not you.
It's just this is just a vehicle. You don't have to take your pain personally.
Right.
When you don't take it personally, you can let it go. You don't have to take your beliefs and your ego and your identity and your self-importance and all that stuff personally. It's installed in the human condition. So what I've learned even recently for myself that I'm taking in, I haven't really wanted to be human that much. I'm like, this is all messy. I just want to stay here and here. But when I finally decided I made it here, I'm human. So I'm going to allow these things to be because I know they're not me, but I can't be here without them. But while I'm here, I might as well put them in nice order for the next user or whatever. You know, it's like,
or for whoever interfaces with this user.
All that pain I clear up, heal in a way for everyone. Especially when I do it in community. It's amazing when people get on my membership calls.
Yeah.
Like last night was amazing. This one woman did incredible, beautiful work. And I checked in with everybody and said, oh, we just did the work along with her. And we're all feeling amazing now.
That was one of the things I noticed when you were processing 11 people.
Right.
I got processed 11 times.
That's right.
Because I was in the field. So talk about that non-local
But
energy.
as soon as you get out of your mind egocentric shielding
Right.
and open up to here, you get to receive all the healing that everybody. But you can sit in that room like, there's a bunch of or whatever, you know. Like even like the first person in the work gets the benefit of everybody. The last person in the work is in their shit until then, and they don't really get that much benefit from everybody because
if they're in their mind.
If they're in their mind.
If they're in their mind, because I was in the middle.
But if they're acute and
no,
see,
we
if
saw
I'm
that. We
yeah.
saw that. We saw the person in the mind that was like
If-
in his story the whole time
if-
and was missing it.
If I'm acute, is then I can't think only. It's like the nail in my kneecap.
Right.
If I'm in acute anger, fear, pain, whatever,
Yeah.
and it's not right or wrong. It's just like if I've got a nail in my kneecap. I'm pretty good with pain sometimes, but it's still pretty hard to ignore.
Hard to pay attention.
It's hard to ignore. And so then my consciousness and the yoga of consciousness gets fixed in a very certain place. I can't think about anything else.
Right.
So that's why
Yeah.
we want to clear all that stuff off.
So that reminds me of like the 4 agreements. Don't take anything personal, so that if you don't take yourself personal, then you can be available to answer the questions in a neutral space, and that gets back to self-inquiry.
But the problem is, all these books have great ideas. They're all great ideas. It's only in doing the work that
Right,
we
you have to
actualize
do
it.
the
You
work.
can't take, like, how many, we've all been told, we've all had more advice. If advice worked, we would
Right.
all be enlightened. and they know it'd be like a million times over enlightened, right? I mean, we've all received all the good advice we ever need. You don't even need to go get any more good advice.
Right.
It's
true.
We need the direct experience of it.
Direct experience.
That's the only thing that works. And
And-
that's why inquiry method is so powerful.
Well, and that brings me to Ramana Maharishi, because Ramana,
my dear man.
yes, I love Ramana, and that's what he was talking about specifically in relationship to enlightenment.
That's right.
Because we can read all these spiritual texts, the Upanishads, the Emerald Tablets, the Kabbalion, the Bible, the New Testament, the Old Testament, the Hermetica, everything. And yet, until we sit down and we just say, who am I? And you don't know?
And then the thing is, no disrespect, Ramana Maharshi is one of my great heroes. And it's like 10x doing it in connection with another person.
Right, because
Because-
they're asking you.
Because in self-inquiry, my mind is having to hold the container.
Right.
But it's like being a pirate that buried his gold and forgot where
Where
it
he
was.
buried it, yeah.
You've actually blinded yourself to it. So being in connection not only allows you to find it in a different way because you don't have to hold your thinking. I'll
Right.
hold the thinking.
Yeah.
Now we can just dig around in the sand. But there's something that when we share it with another person,
There's a communion.
that is, I don't even know what it is, but it changes it. And then if you do it in a group of 15 people, it's another 10x.
That
It's
was
incredible.
huge. That was so powerful.
It's incredible. So you
Yeah,
can
it's
do it
really
on your own.
powerful.
I'm not saying you can't, but if you
Yeah.
want to speed it up 10x, do it with somebody that knows inquiry method. I'm biased. Do it with somebody that knows inquiry
Or
method.
do it in a group.
Or do it in a group of people doing inquiry method.
Yeah.
What I love about, or my aesthetic about what I teach is nothing extra. I don't bring any belief. I don't
Right.
bring any kind of ideas or concepts that aren't directly experienced. All I care about is what I can directly experience. And so even inquiry is not about my experience. It's just what are you experiencing? I always say to everybody, I never tell me what I want to hear. You just have to be good instruments. And if you're good instruments, we can
Right.
navigate the whole thing.
So you're asking the questions to get the person to tune in to what is present right here, right now.
Yes. But the purity of the
Purity.
egoless state of consciousness that the person is holding you with makes a huge difference. Because
So they have to have a certain level of mastery and work done on themselves. Yes?
not necessarily.
So you can just, anybody can ask you.
It
Even
is
a serial killer can just ask me these questions?
If they've practiced the state of consciousness. Inquiry method, which I teach to people,
Okay.
is actually like a meditation. We're practicing the state of egoless attention on other. So-
Egoless attention on other. Now, give me an example of that.
So when I put my attention on you, I don't know.
Okay, so you don't take Kyle with you into our session.
I don't know.
You don't know.
It's a sense of, I like the word wonder. Wonder is, I don't know, I wonder, and it's awe, or that's amazing. I'm just so curious. So when we practice that, how often do you practice that, right? Inquiry method as a practice, like the people I'm teaching are doing it with other people so they can practice, just like meditation,
Right.
a state of consciousness.
Right.
And you can practice, when you're on this side, having wonder toward yourself. So we're actually both practicing the exact state of consciousness. You're just turning the eye inward, and I'm turning the eye outward. It is a spiritual practice because I can actually get out and do that in the world. I do it with my fish tank and when I go to the beach. The moments in nature that are the ones that are like enlightening or transformational are the ones where we just sit there in awe or wonder. I'm on a mountaintop. Awe. I
yeah.
lose myself. I lose my judgments, my thoughts, my consciousness, and it's the state we want to be in. And instead of meditation, it's an active state of engagement with that.
With that.
With all this.
With all this.
And guess what all this is? Remember, what is all this out here? All the information coming in is
Source.
love.
Love.
Right?
Love coming
right?
in.
Remember, it's all love coming in.
It's all love
So
coming
when
in.
you're
It's
in an
all love coming
egoless,
in.
that's right. When we're in egoless
Egoless.
state of
Yeah.
consciousness, it all looks like love. And you hear people report this. Like they have enlightenment experience and they say, oh, I understand why war needs to be there. How beautiful it is. I understand why they're suffering. And that's when we get into that enlightened, awakened, egoless sense, is we can see it's all
It's
beauty.
all love.
It's
So-
all beauty.
So I wanted to.
Oh, and I can even prove that. Can I prove that for a second?
You can, but I want to comment on this right
Okay,
before you
okay.
prove it because
Good.
I saw you prove it when you saw there was a breakdown in the group, and your statement is it's all love, and love can hold fear and love. Love can hold judgment and acceptance. Love can hold all of the different colors of the rainbow.
They're just fractures of love. It's all fractures.
It's all
of love.
fractures of love. Okay, now what were you going to say?
Okay, so I used to think that, I want to say this right. I used to think that if I got neutral about everything, if I lost all my judgment of right and wrong, good and bad, I was like, oh, then everything would be just neutral. I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to lose all my judgment of good and bad. It'd be neutral. And I started to kind of contemplate on it. And I said, maybe that's not true. Because thinking about it, whatever is true, there was probably a time when it was just all blackness, right?
Right.
that there was nothing. And then something happened, according to the Big Bang. There was a Big Bang, and then all this happened. It was just an explosion. And then Athena happened, and the fish in my fish tank happened, and this painting happened. I'm like, mind blown. Even war happened, and suffering happened out of black space. How? I mean, how can I not? And when I give myself the alternative, there's no good or bad. It's all amazing, right? I don't need to differentiate in good and bad in this experience, because the alternative, it's really this experience or nothingness. So between nothingness and whatever happens to be happening in this experience, this is amazing. It's love, it's wonder, it's life, it's vitality. That's the either or for me. Nothing or something. And something is awesome.
Right. And I saw you put the something into awesomeness.
That's
And I want to say this too, that even when we closed the group, the thing that happened alchemically in me and so many of us in the group kept happening. It was something that I kept feeling. Yeah, it was like a trickle effect. I want to say that it was like more space and more space and more space. And then I would like apply it to the next thing. And I was like, oh, wow, more space and then more space. And I want to say, I actually reached out to a friend of mine from like 10 years ago in that space, and I just did a little reach out and and asked for some forgiveness and some love, and I felt like I actually had the space to do it.
It's so amazing.
And I mean, and it felt like awesomeness, like you said. So yeah, I want to thank you for that. So okay, how can people get a hold of you? And
lifeataltitude.com. Lifeataltitude.com. I've got membership on there. I've got a retreat coming up in a couple weeks here in LA, the first weekend in March. First weekend in March.
Sooner than that. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
first weekend in March. I've got other retreats. I've got membership online thing, which is super accessible. I've got online, really inexpensive online short courses on my website. I've got 500 blogs I've written on there. A book coming out.
Yeah, the book. So the book, when is that coming out? Life at Altitude. So that's going to explain this whole thing and tell your life story? Will you go into that?
In a few months. There's a little bit of that. It's a lot more about the understanding than it is about me, because that's what's important.
All right.
And
so I'll put some links. I'll put some links at the bottom of this video. All right. Is there anything else that you would like to share about this process? What's it called? The self-inquiry?
Inquiry method.
The inquiry method.
Yeah. The only thing I have left to share is just what a beautiful soul you are.
Aww, I'm
just so excited to have you coming over here. And just like your
We're going to play after this.
We're going to play.
Yeah, we're going to play.
Good.
Can I show them the fish tank?
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
So we were in the retreat, and he really talked a lot about the fish tank, and everybody really wanted to see the fish tank. And I said, I want to come over to see the fish. I didn't know I'd be doing the interview, but I'm so glad that we decided to do this as well.
Can I just tell a short story that's illustrative?
Yes.
So what's so interesting about the fish tank is, like, a lot of people can't even imagine that I cultivate it like a garden. But they come in and they say, oh, it feels like a dentist's office in here. And I said, did you see my aquarium? Yeah, it feels like a dentist's office. And I said, okay. And so they do around. And I said, I have a little couch next there that we moved it over here. We're sitting on. But I say, sit down and just start watching in there. And they start watching in there, and their eyes start this is amazing. Because it's so precisely attuned, but it's attention. There's so much love and activity and balance and beauty in there that when people start to see it, they can hardly take their eyes away. But it's the same thing that I've been talking about. The judge when I see a fish tank, it's just name it fish tank and move on. But when I'm really open to a sense of wonder, I can sit down, wonder what's going on in here. This is amazing.
Another whole world.
But I just watch person after person just put it in fish tank and just not interested category. And it's so interesting because we do that all the time. We label something, short guy. Attractive woman. Mean dog. And we just don't even notice it anymore once we've labeled it. And so as we're opening our eye,
right,
we start to see more and more a sense of wonder in everything around us. So here's the fish tank.
Okay, so let's see. I'm going to go over here, and let's come over here. You want to come over here and so you built this whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Come on this side so I can see you through here. Yeah. because I think Edwin told me that you crafted all this yourself. You didn't buy these things.
That's right. So all the plants are growing, but the balance of fish, and like there's shrimp and there's crawdads and lobster, and there's all these things. So it's a full ecosystem happening here, self-sustaining. And even the wood I got from Mexico, that's mangrove, which will sink down to the bottom, that I found on the beach in Mexico. And so this is all cultivated. Sometimes I remodel it, but it's all cultivated. It has beautiful tension on it. So that's the thing.
Beautiful attention and awareness. Well, I love you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. All right, this is Raising Reverence. Thank you so much, and we will see you again soon. Blessings. Stay tuned.